Hey everybody, welcome back to the final segment of the Blitz. Another special guest this week in the Coach's Corner, Calallen's Charlie Reeve. Coach, thanks for joining us here.
Great to be here.
All right, you guys coming off a big win over Carroll last night. Have you recovered yet from the way that game ended?
Still coming off the high. What a great game. Extremely proud of our kids and the way that that they fought back and even all the way to the end and two great teams battling it out but really proud of our kids.
All right, let's take a look at the way this game ended. Video courtesy of the MIC Sports Network. Carroll had just taken a 21-20 lead, over a minute to go. Reese Rusher taking this one to the house. What's going through your mind right here?
Well, I know we got a chance, and going into this play, obviously needed a big play. We hadn't shown this return all night, and we knew the ball was going to come to our left, and so we had a sideline return with a reverse action in the backfield, and once he got around that first edge, I knew we had a chance. And once he got past the last one, I just wanted to make sure there was no flags and everybody was off the white. But what a great play, what a great ending, and excited for him. But also too, there's 10 other guys on that play that are doing their job. So
absolutely,
what a great way to end the game.
And I assume you guys had some plays called up, because you're expecting to go not even the full 2-minute drill, about a half of a 2-minute drill, and then he just takes care of business for you.
Sure, yeah, it's always easier to get it done in one play than having to drive the field. But what a great game. Again, proud of our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to take a look at another video here. We saw Ricardo Rodriguez had a big game last night as well, got you guys on the board first. What does he bring to the table?
He brings toughness to the table, and he carries a lot of the load, and he's a physical kid. He's worked extremely hard, plays really well in between the tackles, and it's hard to take down, and can do a lot of things. You see him here on a screen pass, and but he's been a great player for us. I think he's a great complement to what we do offensively, and excited to continue to see what he does this year.
Yeah, how about defensively? Obviously, we know it was a tough week one, but seems like you guys have really, bounced back since that GP game.
We have, and we continue to get better. Obviously, we're not a finished product yet. There's some things that we got to get cleaned up, but I think we're getting better each week. The main thing that we got to do, our first goal defensively is stop the run. I thought we're doing that better. Carroll had a lot of weapons, probably had the best receiving core that we've seen this year, and those guys get out in space, they can cause a lot of trouble. So, I think we're getting better, but proud of the way those guys played.
All right, Coach. Well, let's. What do you say? Let's take a look at the play of the week, right?
Sure.
Break it down. All right, let's roll it. All right, so we're giving this one to the John Paul defense. Coach, we were just talking about defense. The defense gets a sack and a scoop and score like this. What can that do for a team?
Well, the name of the game is win the turnover margin. And anytime you can get, number one, get a big hit on the quarterback, number two, create a takeaway, and then not only that, but scoop and score. Those are game changers. And that's a big play in the game, and one that can turn the tide.
Yeah, I know, especially, if you're still looking for that first one of the season, it can maybe be a play like that that really gets you going forward.
Sure, and as you saw, it's a tight game, and a lot of tight games come down to a handful of plays, and obviously this was a big one for them. But defensively, that's our number one goal, is we want to create takeaways, and when you can scoop and score and add points on the board, that always helps as well.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a quick look at next week if we can, if we have time. We've got week 5 coming up. Vets hosting PSJ North. Alice going to GP. Senton Miller, Carroll TM. You guys hosting Rockport Fulton. What some of these games that jump out to you?
Well, obviously, we've either played or scrimmaged each one of these guys, or a lot of those guys on that schedule. A lot of great teams, a lot of great players. So there's going to be some big games. We've got a big one coming up with Rockport coming to town. Each week in and week out, there's some great games around the area.
Yeah, you mentioned Rockport. Rockport this upcoming week. You've got Sinton then in 2 weeks. I know you guys, you want to kind of put your guys through the grind a little bit heading into district, right?
Sure. Our non-district schedule has been really tough, and we play good teams for a reason, and I think that makes us better. You take a game last night, not only playing a really good team, but having to come back and win the way that we did. I think it goes a long way, and I think it pays dividends, later on in the season.
Yeah, not necessarily in district, although Tolosa Midway looks like a really good team, but that's something that, like you said, probably going to pay off down the line in the postseason, right? Running that 2-minute drill when you need to, right? Season
Sure.
on the line.
And I told our kids today, those are plays and types of games that are pivotal, not only to a season but also to a program, and so. But that's why we play those games, and we've got a few tough non-district games coming up, as you said. So, but we play those games to get us ready for not only district but also the playoffs.
All right, Coach Charlie Reeve joining us this week in the Coach's Corner. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. That'll wrap up week 4 of the Friday Night Sports Blitz. We'll see you back here 10:35 next Friday.
You've been watching the Friday Night Sports Blitz, sponsored by CCA Texas, Ewald Kubota, Aztec Chevrolet GMC, and the Heil Law Firm.